Josh is called into the bakery's office at 2 p.m. on a Thursday, still covered in flour from the morning's brioche batch, his hands smelling like butter and yeast. He's expecting a routine meeting, maybe about the new supplier contracts or the catering order for the mayor's daughter's wedding. Instead, he walks into a scene that will replay in his nightmares for weeks. His parents sitting on one side of the desk, his younger sister Lauren on the other, all three of them wearing matching smiles that don't reach their eyes. "Josh, sit down," his father says, gesturing to the single chair facing them, positioned like an interview, like he's the outsider in the bakery he's run for 7 years. His mother slides a thick stack of papers across the desk, the pages crisp and clearly prepared by a lawyer. Josh's eyes scan the top document, his brain struggling to process the words. Transfer of ownership agreement and Lauren Mitchell, sole proprietor, and effective immediately. What is this? His voice comes out smaller than he intended, almost childlike. Lauren's smile widens. That particular smile she's perfected since childhood, the one that says she's won something. "It's time for new leadership," his mother says, her tone the same one she'd used to explain why he couldn't have dessert. "You're good with your hands, Josh, always have been. The baking, the recipes, the technical work. But you're not good with decisions, with business, with the future." Lauren has an MBA. She understands modern marketing, social media, brand expansion. She's what this bakery needs. The words land like punches. 7 years. 7 years of 4 a.m. wake-ups to start the sourdough starter. 7 years of burns on his forearms from the industrial ovens. 7 years of missed birthdays, skipped holidays, relationships that failed because he was always at the bakery. 7 years of believing he was building something that would be his, that his sacrifices mattered, that family meant partnership. "So I'm just what? An employee now?" Josh manages to ask. His father shifts uncomfortably, but doesn't meet his eyes. "You'll assist Lauren. Same salary, same responsibilities for the baking itself. But ownership, decisions, direction, that's Lauren's now. We've already signed everything. It's done." Lauren speaks for the first time, her voice dripping with condescension. "Don't worry, Josh. You'll still get to do what you're good at, the simple stuff. I'll handle the thinking." Humiliation burns through Josh's chest. They're talking about him like he's a child, like he's some sort of idiot savant who can bake, but can't possibly understand business. Never mind that he's managed inventory for 7 years. Never mind that he negotiated with suppliers, created seasonal menus, built relationships with every regular customer. Never mind that the signature items people line up for, the honey lavender scones, the dark chocolate croissants, the rosemary focaccia, are all his recipes, his creativity, his work. Can I think about this?" he asks, knowing already that thinking about it won't matter. It's done. They've made the decision without him, about him, around him. He's been erased from his own story. "Nothing to think about," Lauren says cheerfully. "You start reporting to me Monday. I've already got some exciting changes planned. We're going to make this place actually profitable. Actually profitable. The bakery that's been in the black for 5 straight years. The bakery that's expanded twice. The bakery that has a waiting list for custom orders. Actually profitable." Josh stands up without another word and walks back to the kitchen, flour still dusting his black t-shirt, his hands shaking so badly he has to grip the counter to steady himself. Josh finishes the day working like a ghost. His movements are mechanical, weighing ingredients, kneading dough, piping frosting. But his mind is somewhere else, cycling through shock and grief and something like mourning. Customers notice. Mrs. Chun, who's been coming in for almond croissants every Thursday for 6 years, asks if he's feeling all right. He forces a smile and says he's just tired. She doesn't believe him but doesn't push. Around 4 p.m., a couple arrives to pick up their anniversary cake, 3 tiers, vanilla bean with raspberry filling, decorated with hand-piped sugar flowers that took Josh 3 hours to create. Lauren intercepts them at the counter, all bright smiles and charm. "Here's your beautiful cake. I really poured my heart into the design. I hope you love it as much as I loved creating it." Josh watches from the kitchen doorway as Lauren takes credit for his work, poses for a photo with the couple, and basks in their praise. She doesn't even glance his way. Something in Josh breaks, not loudly, not dramatically. Just quietly, like a thread pulled too tight finally snapping. He finishes cleaning his station with meticulous care, scrubbing surfaces that are already clean, organizing tools that are already organized. Then he unties his apron, the one with Mitchell Family Bakery embroidered on the chest, the one he's worn so often the strings are soft and frayed, and folds it neatly. He sets it on the counter and walks toward the back door. His father intercepts him in the narrow hallway. "Where are you going?" "We've still got the evening prep." Josh doesn't answer, just keeps walking. Josh, are you quitting?" Again. That word, again, is designed to wound. A reference to the one time, 6 years ago, when Josh tried to take a weekend off and his father accused him of abandoning the family business. Josh had come back the next morning, apologizing. That version of Josh is gone. "Josh, don't be dramatic. You're tired. We'll talk Monday when you've calmed down." His father's voice follows him out the door, but Josh doesn't stop walking until he reaches his car. He sits in the driver's seat for a full 5 minutes, his hands on the wheel, staring at the bakery he's given everything to. The brick facade he helped his father repaint 3 summers ago. The sign he hand-painted himself. The window displays he changes with every season. It's been his whole world. And they just gave it away like it meant nothing. At home, a small apartment above a laundromat that smells perpetually of fabric softener. Josh collapses onto his couch and stares at the ceiling. The apartment is sparse. A couch, a coffee table, a bookshelf packed with cookbooks, a bed in the corner. He's barely here, has always been barely here, because all his time went to the bakery. He's 32 years old with nothing to show for it except calloused hands, and the realization that family loyalty only runs one direction. He can't sleep. Around 2 a.m., he starts pulling cookbooks off his shelf, reading random recipes like some people read poetry when they're heartbroken. That's when he finds it, his late grandmother's personal cookbook, the one she left him when she died 5 years ago. He's looked through it hundreds of times, has made most of the recipes, has memorized her handwriting. But tonight, flipping through it without really seeing, a small envelope falls out from between the pages on classic butter cake and rose water madeleines. The envelope is yellowed with age, sealed with "For Joshua, when you're ready," written on the front in his grandmother's elegant script. His hands shake as he opens it. Inside is a handwritten letter and a small brass key. "My dearest Joshua, if you're reading this, then you've discovered what I always feared, that your father doesn't see you the way I do. He's a good man but a blind one, always favoring flash over substance. You are substance, my boy. Pure substance. This key opens 247, Oak Street, the little storefront I bought years ago dreaming of opening a second bakery. I always imagined doing it with you, teaching you everything I knew, building something just ours. I ran out of time, but you haven't. If they don't value you there, build your own table. The shop is yours. Everything in it is yours. And remember, the best revenge is bread that makes people weep with joy. I love you. I believe in you. Now believe in yourself. Grandmother Rose." Josh reads the letter 5 times, tears blurring the words. Then he grabs his jacket and drives through the empty 3 a.m. streets to 247, Oak Street, an address in the older part of town where he rarely goes. The building is small, sandwiched between a bookshop and a vintage clothing store, its windows covered in old newspapers, the "For Lease" sign so faded it's barely readable. The key fits the lock perfectly. Inside, everything is dusty but intact. A beautiful old space with exposed brick walls, high ceilings with tin tiles, and in the back, oh God, in the back, a commercial kitchen with a vintage Blodgett oven that makes Josh's heart race. On the counter sits a sealed plastic box. Inside are his grandmother's personal recipe notebooks, pages and pages of her handwriting, recipes he's never seen, notes about technique and creativity and passion. And at the bottom, a business plan she'd written 15 years ago, complete with sketches for a bakery called Rose and Hearth. A bakery she'd dreamed of building with him. Josh sits on the dusty floor and cries for the first time since she died. Not sad tears, but something else, grief and gratitude and possibility all mixed together. She'd seen him, really seen him, and she'd left him not just recipes but permission. Permission to build something his own, to stop accepting crumbs from people who would never value his bread. Instead of spiraling into bitterness, Josh starts cleaning. He shows up at 247, Oak Street every morning at 5 a.m. and works until midnight. Scrubbing floors, repairing equipment, painting walls. The space transforms slowly from abandoned to alive. The old Blodgett oven, after some coaxing and a visit from a retired repair technician who remembers when these were the best ovens made, roars to life. Josh tests it with his grandmother's basic white bread recipe, and the smell that fills the space makes him feel like she's there with him. His phone buzzes constantly with texts from Lauren. Where are you? You need to train the new assistant. Josh, stop being childish. We need you Monday. If you don't come back by Monday, I'm replacing you permanently. That last text makes Josh smile for the first time in days. A real smile, not the customer service smile he's perfected. Replace him. She has no idea that you can't replace 7 years of muscle memory and recipe knowledge and relationships with suppliers who trust him. Let her try. A former coworker named Marcus shows up on Wednesday evening. He'd worked at Mitchell's for 2 years before quitting last month, citing management issues that everyone knew meant Lauren. Heard through the grapevine you were doing something, Marcus says, looking around the space with appreciation. Lauren's already insufferable. Showing up late, changing recipes without understanding them, treating everyone like servants. I'm offering to help if you need it. For free until you open. I just want to be part of something that matters. Josh wants to hug him, but settles for a handshake. I can't pay much at first. Marcus grins. Doesn't matter. This feels like the first honest thing I've done in months. Within a week, 2 more former Mitchell's employees quietly joined them. Sophia, who'd been the morning shift baker, and James, who'd run the front counter with precision and warmth. They all have the same story. They'd come to Mitchell's because of Josh's reputation, because of the quality and care he brought to the work. Lauren's takeover had poisoned that. They were ready for something better. Together, they transformed the space. Sophia has a friend who does construction who owes her a favor. He builds display cases at cost. James knows someone selling restaurant equipment. They get an industrial mixer for half price. Marcus is a wizard with permits and licensing, navigating bureaucracy that would have paralyzed Josh. And Josh himself works like someone possessed, perfecting recipes, testing techniques, creating the menu that will define Rose and Hearth. The signature item comes from his grandmother's unfinished recipes. A caramel brioche that she'd been working on before she died, notes scattered across 3 different notebooks. Josh experiments for 2 weeks, adjusting ratios, testing proofing times, perfecting the caramel to bread ratio. When he finally gets it right, when he pulls the first perfect batch from the oven, the smell is so achingly beautiful that Sophia actually tears up. That's the one, she says. That's going to change everything. Lauren posts a video to TikTok on a Friday evening, standing in Mitchell's kitchen with the artificial brightness of someone performing confidence. Hey everyone, Lauren here, new owner of Mitchell Family Bakery. Just wanted to address some rumors. Yes, we've had some staffing changes because I believe in excellence and innovation. Some people are comfortable with mediocrity, but I'm here to elevate this brand. We're not just a bakery anymore. We're a lifestyle experience. Exciting changes coming. She flashes that smile, the one that doesn't reach her eyes. The video goes viral, but not the way she expects. The comments section becomes a battlefield. Who talks about their family like that? Some people are comfortable with mediocrity. You mean your brother who built that bakery? This energy is toxic. I'm never going back there. Imagine forcing out the person who made your business successful, then bragging about it. The audacity to call family members mediocre on Maine. The local food community is small, and word spreads fast. People who've been going to Mitchell's for years start asking questions. Where did Josh go? Why the sudden change? What happened to the recipes that made Mitchell's special? Lauren's defensive responses to comments only make it worse, her privilege and entitlement laid bare for thousands to see. Meanwhile, Josh and his team prepare for a soft opening. They print simple flyers and hand them out in the neighborhood. Rose and Hearth. Opening soon. Where bread is made with love and respect. No fancy marketing. No social media presence yet. Just honest work and hope that it'll be enough. The soft opening is scheduled for a Saturday morning. They're prepared for maybe a dozen curious neighbors. Instead, a line forms before they even unlock the door. People who saw Lauren's video and went looking for Josh. People who'd heard whispers about a new bakery from former Mitchell's staff. People drawn by the simple beauty of the space and the smell of fresh bread wafting through the propped open door. Among the first customers is Maya Rodriguez, a local food blogger with a modest but devoted following. She orders the caramel brioche on a whim, takes one bite, and her expression transforms from polite curiosity to genuine awe. "Oh my God," she says out loud. This is the best thing I've ever tasted. What I asked this? Josh, working the counter because they're short-staffed, explains the recipe with the quiet passion that comes from talking about something you love. Maya takes notes, takes photos, takes 3 more bites before she even thinks about posting. Her review goes up that evening. Thread. I just discovered Rose and Hearth Bakery, and I need to tell you about the caramel brioche that made me believe in God again. This is not hyperbole. This is not sponsorship. This is just truth. The thread goes viral overnight. Screenshots shared across platforms, people tagging friends, the phrase "believe in God again" becoming a local meme. By Sunday morning, the line wraps around the block. They sell out by 11 a.m. At Mitchell's Family Bakery, the changes are immediate and devastating. Customers stop coming. Longtime regulars quietly switch to Rose and Hearth. The elaborate lifestyle experience changes Lauren implemented. Higher prices, smaller portions, trendy but flavorless menu items alienate the core customer base. Reviews tank. Revenue drops. Lauren blames Josh publicly on social media. It's hard to compete when someone steals your customers through manipulation and lies. But the internet isn't stupid. People start sharing their Mitchell's experiences. Rude service, decreased quality, Lauren's visible contempt for customers who dared to ask for the way Josh used to make it. The backlash is swift and brutal. Lauren's parents try to intervene, posting defensive comments that only make things worse. Lauren is a talented businesswoman with an MBA. Sounds hollow when your bakery is empty and your competitor has a 2-hour wait time. 3 weeks after Rose and Hearth opens, Lauren shows up. Josh is in the kitchen when Marcus comes back looking uncomfortable. Lauren's here. She wants to talk. Josh wipes his hands on his apron, a new one, simple black with Rose and Hearth, embroidered in gold thread, a gift from Sophia, and walks out to find his sister standing near the display case, her phone conspicuously in her hand, angled like she's filming or taking photos. "Josh," she says, her voice sugary sweet. "This place is amazing. I'm so proud of you. I was thinking, why don't we collaborate? Pool resources, share recipes. Maybe I could get your input on some things at Mitchell's." She's edging closer to the display case as she talks, her phone camera clearly focused on the recipe board behind the counter. Josh recognizes the performance immediately. She's not here to reconcile. She's here to steal. Marcus recognizes it too. He'd mounted a discreet security camera last week after Josh mentioned Lauren might try something. "Hey Lauren," Marcus calls out, his voice friendly but firm. "Smile, you're on camera. Crystal clear video, audio, everything. Just so you know for, future reference." Lauren's face goes from fake friendly to panic to furious in seconds. "You're recording customers without consent? That's illegal." "Actually," James chimes in from behind the register, "there's a sign right on the door saying premises are monitored for security. Standard practice. You might have noticed if you'd actually come to visit your brother instead of industrial espionage." Lauren's face flushes crimson. She storms out, but the damage is done. Marcus uploads the security footage to his personal TikTok that evening. When your competitor shows up pretending to make peace, but is really trying to photograph your recipes. The audacity. The video gets 200,000 views overnight. The comments are ruthless. "Stealing from your own brother? Girl. The way she thought she was slick with that phone angle skull. This is literally a crime. Like actual industrial espionage. First she steals his bakery. Now she's trying to steal his recipes. Shameless. Lauren's attempted theft is the final straw. Mitchell's loses its last loyal customers. Suppliers who've worked with Josh for years quietly switched to Rose and Hearth, citing payment issues and unprofessional conduct at Mitchell's. Bills pile up. The landlord threatens eviction for late rent. Lauren's parents, who'd been funding the shortfalls, finally run out of money or patience or both. On a Wednesday afternoon, 6 weeks after Josh walked out, his parents show up at Rose and Hearth together. The lunch rush is over, and Josh is prepping dough for tomorrow when Marcus calls him to the front. His mother and father stand awkwardly near the counter, looking smaller somehow, diminished by circumstances they created. "Josh," his mother starts, "we need to talk. That video Marcus posted, it's destroying Lauren's reputation. You need to have him delete it. The audacity is breathtaking." "No," Josh says simply. His father's face reddens. "This is family, Josh. You're making us all look bad. Lauren made a mistake, but you're being vindictive." Josh feels something cold and final settle in his chest. A mistake is burning a batch of bread. Lauren came to my bakery, pretended to want reconciliation, and tried to steal my recipes on camera. That's not a mistake. That's calculated theft. Just like you transferred the bakery without telling me wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. You chose Lauren over me. Now live with that choice. His mother's eyes fill with tears, real or performed. Josh can't tell anymore. We thought Lauren would be better for the business. You have to understand. I don't have to understand anything, Josh interrupts, his voice quiet but firm. For 7 years, I gave everything to that bakery. I missed my own life. I sacrificed relationships, health, sleep, everything. And you repaid me by giving it to someone else and telling me I'm good with my hands, but not decisions. So no, I don't need to understand. But you do. You need to understand that actions have consequences. This is yours. They leave without achieving anything, and Josh feels something shift. Not triumph exactly, but relief. Like putting down a weight he's been carrying so long he forgot it was heavy. That evening, Lauren herself shows up. Not sneaky this time, not trying to steal anything. Just desperate. She's crying when she walks in, mascara streaking her face, her usual polish completely gone. Josh, please. The bakery is closing. We can't make rent. Suppliers are refusing to deliver. I don't know what to do. The old Josh, the one who existed 6 weeks ago, would have felt sorry for her. Would have helped despite everything. But that Josh died the day she smirked about him doing the simple stuff. This Josh just looks at her and waits. I'm sorry, Lauren says, the words coming out between sobs. I'm sorry I was awful. I'm sorry I took credit for your work. I'm sorry I underestimated you. Please, you have to help. You're my brother. I was your brother when you took the bakery, Josh says calmly. I was your brother when you mocked me in that meeting. I was your brother when you tried to steal my recipes. Being family isn't a card you play when you need something. It's a foundation you build with respect and trust. You destroyed that foundation. This is you learning what that costs. Lauren tries to argue, then begs, then screams, a full breakdown in front of Josh's customers, accusing him of destroying her, of being vindictive, of never supporting her. Josh doesn't respond with anger or raised voice. He just starts talking, his voice even and factual, laying out each moment they dismissed him, mocked him, undervalued him. You said I was good with my hands, but not decisions. I decided to leave. You said I'd fail. I built this. You said I was stealing customers. I earned them with quality and respect. Everything happening to you now. You built it yourself. I'm just not there to fix it anymore. 2 weeks later, Josh does something that surprises everyone, including himself. He buys Mitchell's family bakery. Not to save it, it's past saving as Lauren's operation, but to protect his grandmother's recipes that are still technically owned by the business, and to reclaim the space that holds his history. The price is pennies compared to what his parents paid. They're so desperate they'd probably have given it away. Lauren is fired, gently but firmly. You need to find something else, Josh tells her. Something you actually care about. This was never your passion. And that's okay. But you can't stay here. She leaves quietly, perhaps finally understanding that there's no coming back from what she did. Josh stands in the empty Mitchell's kitchen, the place where he learned to bake, where he burned his first loaf of bread at 14, where his grandmother taught him that baking is an act of love, and he cries. Not for what was, but for what he's about to create. Over the next month, Josh merges the 2 locations into one vision. Mitchell's becomes Rose and Hearth's production facility and teaching kitchen. The original Rose and Hearth space remains the customer-facing bakery. He hires respectfully, pays fairly, creates profit sharing so everyone has a stake in success. Former Mitchell's employees who left under Lauren's tenure are invited back. Most accept. And Josh establishes the Rose Mitchell Scholarship Fund, named for his grandmother, providing grants and mentorships to young bakers from underprivileged backgrounds, especially those without family support. The grand reopening is scheduled for a Saturday morning, exactly 3 months after Josh walked out of Mitchell's for the last time. The space is transformed, his grandmother's name in elegant gold lettering above the door, the interior a perfect balance of vintage charm and modern efficiency, display cases full of bread that makes people stop and stare. Josh's parents are invited. They come looking older and smaller and stand awkwardly near the back. At some point during the celebration, customers, former colleagues, suppliers, friends, media, all gathered to celebrate this impossible success story. A reporter asks Josh what changed everything. He thinks about his grandmother's letter, about that midnight drive to an abandoned shop, about the choice between bitterness and building, about aprons folded and possibilities opened. The day I took off my apron, Josh says, his voice clear and certain, I finally put myself first. Not selfishly, but healthily. I stopped waiting for other people to value me and started valuing myself. Everything after that was just baking bread, which I've always known how to do. 6 months after the grand reopening, Josh's grandmother's dream is alive in ways even she couldn't have imagined. Rose and Hearth has 2 locations, a thriving wholesale business, and a waiting list for their weekend baking classes. Josh has hired 12 employees, all paid above market rate with full benefits. The scholarship fund has awarded its first 3 grants. Young bakers who remind Josh of himself, talented but overlooked, hungry for a chance to prove themselves. On a quiet Tuesday morning, Josh is teaching a class to the scholarship recipients, teenagers and young adults learning the foundation of bread baking. He's demonstrating his grandmother's basic white bread, the one that started everything, and as he works the dough, he tells them about her. My grandmother taught me that baking is honest work. The dough doesn't lie. It doesn't care about your degree or your connections or who your parents are. It only responds to time, care, and respect. If you give it those things, it becomes something beautiful. One of the students, a shy 19-year-old named Maria who reminds Josh painfully of himself at that age, asks, "What if people tell you you're not good enough? That you can't do it?" Josh stops kneading, his hands still on the dough, and looks at her directly. "Then you fold your apron, walk away, and build your own table. You find people who see you. You work harder than everyone who doubted you. And you make bread so good that it speaks for itself." After class, Josh stays to clean up. This is still his favorite part. The quiet kitchen, the smell of bread cooling, the satisfaction of work done well. His phone buzzes with a text from Marcus. Line is around the block again. That caramel brioche is still undefeated. Josh smiles and heads to the front to help with the rush. As he ties on his apron, the black one with gold embroidery, he catches his reflection in the window and barely recognizes himself. Not because he looks different, but because he stands different. Taller. Steadier. Like someone who knows his worth and doesn't need permission to take up space. He touches the embroidered letters of his grandmother's name and whispers, "Thank you for seeing me, for believing in me, for teaching me that the best revenge is bread that makes people weep with joy." That evening, after closing, Josh's phone rings with an unknown number. He almost doesn't answer, but something makes him pick up. "Josh, it's Lauren." His first instinct is to hang up, but curiosity wins out. "What do you want?" She sounds different, smaller, humbler, more honest. "I'm calling to say I'm sorry. Really sorry. Not because I want something, but because I need you to know. I was awful to you. I was arrogant and cruel, and I took for granted everything you built. I see that now. I'm working at a non-profit now. Nothing glamorous, just honest work. And I've started therapy. I'm trying to understand why I treated people, especially you, the way I did." Josh is quiet for a long moment. "I appreciate you saying that." Lauren's voice cracks slightly. "I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I wanted you to know that I see it now. Everything you sacrificed. Everything you built. Everything I destroyed because I was too proud to see that intelligence isn't the same as wisdom, and credentials aren't the same as character. You tried to teach me that. I just wasn't ready to learn." They talk for 20 minutes, the most honest conversation they've had in years, maybe ever. Josh doesn't offer reconciliation, doesn't pretend the wounds have healed. But he also doesn't hold on to anger anymore. Anger is heavy, and he's done carrying things that don't serve him. When they hang up, Josh feels lighter. Not because he's forgiven her, forgiveness might come later or might not, but because he no longer needs anything from her. Not apology, not acknowledgement, not validation. He's whole without it. On Saturday, Josh brings his parents to the bakery during a quiet afternoon hour. They've been avoiding the place, probably ashamed, probably not knowing what to say. Josh seats them at his favorite table near the window and brings them coffee and his grandmother's caramel brioche. Still warm, the caramel just sticky enough, the bread perfect and tender. His mother takes one bite and starts crying. "This is exactly like her recipe," she whispers. "The one she never let anyone else make. She left it for me," Josh says quietly. "Along with this shop, these recipes, and a letter telling me to build my own table if you didn't value me at yours. She saw what you didn't, that I was capable of more than you believed. She gave me permission to prove it." His father looks like he's aged a decade. "We were wrong. So completely wrong. About you, about Lauren, about what mattered. We threw away the person who built everything because we were too blind to see value that didn't come with a degree." Josh nods. "You did. And I can't pretend that doesn't hurt. Probably always will. But I'm not angry anymore. I'm grateful. Because your rejection pushed me to build something I actually love, surrounded by people who actually respect me. So in a weird way, thank you. For showing me I deserved better than what you were giving me. They sit in silence, eating bread that tastes like forgiveness they haven't earned, but Josh is choosing to bake anyway. Not for them, but for himself. Because holding on to bitterness is exhausting, and joy is so much lighter. That night, Josh locks up the bakery alone, taking his time to make sure everything is perfect for tomorrow's morning rush. He stands in the kitchen, his kitchen now, legally and spiritually, and thinks about the journey from flour-covered employee to flour-covered owner. About his grandmother's faith in him. About the apron he folded and the life he built after. About the students he's teaching and the bread they'll make. About second chances and chosen family and the sweetness of success earned through integrity rather than entitlement. He pulls out his phone and takes a photo of the space. The industrial mixers humming softly, the ovens cooling down, the marble counters clean and ready, the warmth and the peace and the possibility of it all. He posts it with a simple caption. 3 months ago, I was told I'm good with my hands but not decisions. Today, I'm making the best decision I've ever made. Choosing myself, choosing honesty, choosing bread that speaks for itself. To everyone who's ever been undervalued by their own family, your worth isn't defined by their blindness. Build your own table. Make your own bread. Prove them wrong by being so beautifully, undeniably right. The post gets thousands of likes and shares, comments flooding in from people who felt overlooked, undervalued, dismissed by the people who should have championed them. Josh reads a few of them, his eyes blurring with grateful tears, before turning off his phone and heading home. Tomorrow is Sunday, their busiest day. The line will be long. The orders will be complicated. The work will be hard. But it will be his work, done his way, in a space built on respect and love, and his grandmother's enduring faith that good people doing honest work will always rise. And as Josh drives through the city streets, exhausted but content, he realizes something profound. Success isn't about proving wrong the people who doubted you. It's about proving right the people who believed in you, especially when that person is yourself. His grandmother gave him recipes and a key and a letter. But what she really gave him was permission to value himself enough to walk away from people who didn't. That permission, that self-worth, that understanding that love without respect is just pretty words. That's the inheritance that changed everything. The day he took off his apron was the day he finally put himself first. And everything beautiful that followed was simply him becoming what his grandmother always knew he could be. Not just a baker, but a man who understood that the truest form of success is bread shared with people who deserve it, made in a space built on dignity, served with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth and never again needs anyone's permission to take up space in the world.